Well, let's start with the latest from the Revenue Service. Mark Kinnon's term as SARS Acting Commissioner has been extended. Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene has given Kingon a further 90 days in office. His term was meant to come to an end tomorrow. Kingon was appointed into the position of SARS Commissioner after Tom Moyane was suspended in March. Kingon will be hosting a gathering of tax experts tomorrow where ideas will be shared on how to stem the tide of illegal financial activities. This gathering comes ahead of next month's BRICS summit, which is being hosted by South Africa. Now, the Acting Commissioner is in our Pretoria studios and he joins me now for a discussion. Mr. Kingon, welcome. Thank you for your time.
It's good to be with you, Natasha.
Well, before we talk about the BRICS summit, I suppose many will be wanting to know how things are going at the Revenue Service, especially considering the challenges of the past relating to the suspended Tom Moyane, and now that the Minister has given you a further 90 days in office, surely a sign of confidence in you, Mr. Kingon.
Yes, I'm very grateful for the Minister's confirming this. We as a management team at SARS are committed to do what is right and ensure that we improve the organisation and ensure that we deliver on our mandate.
Well, talk us through some of the big tax issues that will be discussed at your gathering tomorrow and how this relates to the BRICS grouping of countries, but of course also to our growth as a country. As I mentioned in that first question, you know, we have had certain challenges of late.
Yes, and forgive me, but the technology let me down a little bit there. I missed the first part of your question, but let me deal with the whole BRICS issue. The issue of BRICS is really there to look at the discussion of tax in the country, engage with various the other tax authorities, and understand the various challenges that we as tax authorities face.
In light of the cyber attack on Liberty Group, we've just heard from them a short while ago. Will cyber crimes be addressed at all at this gathering?
It is not specifically on the agenda. You know, the agenda is very much looking at the digital economy, looking at transfer pricing, looking at how we empower staff to be trained better, basically capacity development, and various other aspects. But obviously on the sidelines, these are important issues that we address. It's a very real issue for us because we're dealing in the most part with digitization and most of our work is digital.
And dealing, I'm sure, in the most part with issues around illegal activities, illicit outflows, which we know is a big issue. I mean, not to mention sort of companies falsifying statements to get money out of the country. We are short of revenue as it is. So how does issues such as these need to be dealt with, or what plans are there to deal with these types of issues?
Well, the whole issue of the illicit financial flows is obviously very on our agenda, not specifically in terms of the BRICS agenda, but very importantly, dealing with these aspects is having understanding and information flows between the different tax authorities, because in so doing we can identify transactions, ensure they are taxed correctly, and that we are sharing information which enables foreign tax authorities to deal with people who are abusing the system from their point of view, and obviously people on our side as well. So sharing information is very important.
Absolutely. Something you said there that issues of illicit outflows and that aren't sort of on the BRICS agenda. Why is that? And shouldn't it be on the BRICS agenda? I mean, if you think about Brazil in the BRICS group and its history of corruption and the way its economy has been floundering, shouldn't this be on the BRICS agenda?
I will definitely be engaging with my colleagues from the BRICS countries in this regard. I've got a number of meetings, and often in such events it's more what is discussed behind the scenes that is more important.
All right, so there's also a question of reputation. We are the smallest economy in the BRICS grouping, and we have massive revenue shortfalls. So how do we compare to the other BRICS countries, but also, I suppose, to other developing countries that are not part of BRICS?
Well, it's interesting. Our tax authority in our country, we've got a lot to be proud of. We have been at the forefront of developments, and I think that we do a lot, but we have got a long way to go. We've got a lot to learn from the other BRICS countries, and we intend to engage that we can learn, but we also want to help impart to them. I do think our tax authority, though, compares exceptionally well with other tax authorities across the world, and we intend to continue to improve that at SARS.
SARS recently intercepted millions in illicit money that was destined for Dubai, which seems to be a gateway in illicit outflows. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
I was very gratified. I think it was a week before last. I popped in at the Oliver Tambo Airport and I congratulated the staff that resisted a bribe of close to 400,000 rand with financial flows that were leaving the country. That gratifies me as the Acting Commissioner, but there's a lot more to do there because we believe that we're only touching the tip of the iceberg insofar as these flows are concerned. We need to do far more because we cannot afford, as a continent or South Africa, in such flows happening.
Absolutely. Are you satisfied with where SARS is currently? I know you're saying you're very proud of the work that's being done by the South African Revenue Services, but in light of the challenges that we've been through in the past year or 2 years, do you think that a lot more needs to be done in terms of streamlining services at SARS, and are you satisfied with where SARS is today?
I'm not satisfied. I think very importantly, if I was satisfied, I wouldn't be having sleepless nights. It's very important that we address a number of things, that we improve our service. And a very important issue which is on the agenda for this week is reduce the cost of compliance and reduce the burden to taxpayers in complying with the various tax compliance issues that we have. So, no, I'm not happy. Obviously, I would prefer that I've got fewer staff, focusing on the front desk of dealing more with the compliance issues.
All right, Acting Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services, Mr. Mark Kingon, from our Pretoria studios, thank you very much for your time.